Chris Murphy is a Democratic senator from Connecticut, the state where the Sandy Hook tragedy occurred in 2012. He's become one of the strongest voices in favor of gun control in the United States Senate. And he understands the routine, just like you do. Every time one of these horrible mass murders happens, he and some of his fellow Democrats say, this is a good time to talk about gun control laws. And most Republicans say, it's definitely not the time. And then nothing happens. But the people in this building are parents and siblings and children. They're Americans. They watch these murders on TV just like the rest of us, and they're horrified, even if they think it's politically untenable to support gun control. So I asked Senator Murphy, what's it like to talk to these people behind the scenes? You sent a tweet out yesterday that says, to my colleagues, your cowardice to act cannot be whitewashed by thoughts and prayers. None of this ends unless we do something to stop it. What do your colleagues say to you after you send a tweet like that out?
I don't think I win any fans when I call out my colleagues like that, but what I'm saying is true. I know that for the majority of my colleagues, they know that these laws are backwards and that they should be changed. And I also know that papered over that shame is their acknowledgement that they do nothing simply because of the politics that surround this issue.
Have they said that to you? That's the myth we always hear, right? That these guys, they all want to do gun control or gun safety stuff, but the NRA says that they can't, and so they don't. Is that ever voiced to you, like in private? Do you hear that stuff?
I do have Republicans tell me that they wish that there was more political power behind the anti-gun violence movement. Listen, I think it's half and half. I think half of Republicans are true gun control social Darwinists. They really do believe that if you flood the zone with guns, the good guys will eventually shoot the bad guys. But the other half do recognize that the laws are kind of nonsensical. They just feel like they will be politically punished if they vote the wrong way. That is changing the stronger that the anti-gun violence movement gets, but it's a pretty slow change.
Does it seem like we're getting the full picture of what they actually think?
It is difficult to get into a really honest conversation with a Republican about why they aren't coming to the table. But this is just a unique issue. I would argue there's not another issue like this in American politics where the public has so definitively made up their mind, and yet they can't get their elected legislature to do something about it. It tells me that there's something else that we're not seeing, and that, to me, is the power of the gun lobby.
What about members of your own caucus who are skeptical?
The problem is not in the Democratic Party. As a party, we are 90 to 95% lined up in favor of measures like universal background checks. Anyone who was down on the floor last night with me, but Bob Casey from Pennsylvania, who used to be an A+ rated NRA senator, whose mind has changed on this issue. He is now one of the most passionate advocates for changing our gun laws, and just a decade ago, he would have been one of the Democrats that lined up against these changes.
Do you feel like having someone like you going out there and talking to senators, behind closed doors, in the lunches, in the, private rooms and things, does that have an impact?
Ultimately, it's going to be people outside of this building, not people inside this building, that change Republicans' minds when they actually fear that they will lose their seat because they're voting with the 10% of their constituents that don't want universal background checks. That's when this place will change.